Hey guys, Ed here with 4-Wheel Drive Toyota Owner Magazine, and here's my 2008 FJ Cruiser. I've had it for about 5 years, and we're about to put on the new ToyTec 2.0 Aluma series coilovers. We'll be showing you the install from the front and the rear, all in the next couple episodes. Alright, stay tuned. And we're about to install our 2.0 ToyTec Aluma series coilovers. First step we got to do before we jack up the car is loosen up the lug nuts. So here we go. Alright guys, so we're going to be chalking up the front wheels. Make sure you always chalk them from the front and the rear in case there's any sliding back and forth. Since we're going to be lifting up the rear, it's very important because the e-brake actually only takes care of the rear suspension, or the rear axle. So both sides. Here we go. Alright, so here we go. We've already lifted up the rear axle and we put one jack stand in place. And as you can see, it's very important to put chocks in the front wheels or else the entire vehicle will start rolling as soon as the rear axle lifts up off the ground. So I'm going to place the other jack stand now. And so you make sure you put them at the recommended manufacturer's places. On this place is on the frame, right about here for the rear. And there's one more on the front we can use for later on at the front. Alright, so the next step is to take out the rear shocks. We got one nut at the top and one bolt at the bottom. So it's easy as that. Right there. And right there. So normally you would use channel locks, right? Mm-hmm. To hold this part, but it's going to mar it up. So if you use one of these pipe, or I guess what do they call these things? A strap wrench? And you wrap it around, you can use that to hold it instead. Then you won't mar it. Okay, the next step is take off the rear sway bar, and we'll do that with one bolt right here. There we go. Alright, so we're about to take out the rear springs, but this sensor cable is getting stretched, so we're going to remove this bracket to give it some room. And there we go.
We're doing this to give room for the spring to come out on this side. We're jacking it up bit by bit, and then we'll see if we can pull it out.
Alright, so we've pushed up the left side as much as we can. I think it'll come out now, so let's give it a try. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're going to put the OEM cone, we're back into the top, and then we'll place the spring right back in. And on the bottom there is a spring perch, so we'll have to make sure that the notch fits into there. And there we go. Alright, about to do the rear bump stops extensions, and ToyTec provides nice color sheet instructions, so I'm just reading up on it right now so we can get these installed right away. Okay, we're about to remove the OEM bump stop so we can put the new ToyTec bump stock extension. And we're on the passenger side of the vehicle, and judging by the pictures, the curved side is for the rear of the vehicle.
Here's Ed putting in the bump stop extension. You may see that the bolts are counter sunk, which is very nice. And then underneath this is where the factory bump stop will go in a moment.
Okay, we're about to put on the new rear BOSS shocks. We put a little grease inside of the hole here to help it slide on. We're going to put it on the bottom first and then squeeze the shock down and then slip it in through the top. So here goes the bottom. A little bit of pressure this way. we go. Okay, we're gonna put the top bushing on, and the metal washer, and the nylon lock nut.
We are tightening up all the bolts on the BOSS rear shock.
Alright, so we just finished installing the new ToyTec BOSS Aluma series rear coilover, or rear suspension. Here we got the ToyTec BOSS shock, the bump stop extension, and the new springs right there. So we torqued everything to the factory manufacturer spec, and we're good to go. Just put the wheels on and we'll start on the front. So for those models that are equipped with the TRD skid plate, we got to take that off before we take the OEM skid plate off to get to the front sway bar. This is the last bolt here.
This is the next skid plate you're going to take off here and here.
Or maybe we'll... Alright, so here we are with the front suspension. As you can see, we actually do have a spacer lift in here right now, but we're going to be replacing that with the adjustable coilovers from ToyTec, the Aluma series. We'll also be replacing the upper control arms with the JBAs. And to do that, what we'll have to do is disconnect all this hosing for the brake cables and whatnot, and then take out the lower ball joint down here to allow the entire lower control arm to drop. And that'll let us slide the control, or the shocks, right out of there.
So here, Ed is preparing to take off the end of the sway bar so we can have room to move, to get the things in and out. Okay, top length of the sway bar coming out. We're going to replace some of those parts anyway, that's why we're taking them all the way off.
Yeah.
Because we're just going to replace them while we're in here. And you're going to want to take off the other side of the sway bar as well, which is what Ed is doing here.
Alright, here we're about to remove the lower bolt for the front shock. Alright, so now we're going to remove the lower ball joint from the lower control arm. And there we go.
Okay. Here we are. Ed's taking off the nuts and bolts from the top of the existing factory coilover. Looks like it had a spacer lift at some point if you look close in there. So we're taking all that off now.
Falling out all on
So what we've done is we had to jiggle a little bit down here. You're going to need to shake it a little bit. Once you have the top bolts out, you're going to jiggle a little bit to get out of that little seat at the bottom of the shock sits in there on the right. Jiggle a little bit, and here we go. Ed's going to pull it out, and it will come out like this. This is the original shock, but it had a spacer lift on it at some point. And there we go. All right, good.
All right, so we're gonna try to tie up our knuckle right here before we take up our upper ball joint, and that'll keep it from falling down. Oh.
Alright, so you can use a ball joint separator, of course. We're going to try to tap it first and just see what happens.
Well, maybe we'll use a real hammer. I guess we'll use a ball joint separator.
Alright.
Alright, so we ended up actually whacking it again a couple times harder with the hammer, and it separated right there. So now we can take this off and it'll drop right out.
Now we're going to take out this little bracket here on top of the upper control arm.
go. And now when you get this little bracket here off so that we'll have room to move that bolt out of the way that holds the upper control arm in place. Get that off. Alright, so we got the nut coming off the end of it there. The upper control arm. Now
We just got to slide that bolt up and out through the engine bay.
exactly. Do that.
I gotta go see.
So here is the end of the bolt, and we're gonna have to move that AC line. You can see there to get it to move out of the way, and so we can remove the factory upper control arm. So we're gonna work on that. Let me pull out that bolt. It's hard to see, but
We just leave it.
so here we are. We're getting ready to actually put on the JBA upper control arms. It's a comparison side by side with the factory upper control arms. There's really no comparison. The JBAs are much burlier, nicely welded together. You can see here zerk fittings, greasable zerk fittings. Underneath here is the is a threaded spot for a bracket, and these will be going on shortly. They look fantastic. Can't wait to do that. Again, the JBA heavy duty upper control arms.
Alright, so JBA supplies two sizes of washers. The thick washers will go on the outside of the bushings, and the thin ones will go on the inside. So there's two for each side.
Excellent instructions here. Thank you, JBA.
Yeah. Alright, so here we got JBA supplied high performance bushing lubricant, and we're just going to put some on the faces of all these bushings before we install.
So what we're going to do, Ed's holding it in place. I'm going to stop filming briefly, but basically you can just see right there the end of the factory long bolt that goes through, and from the top, from the engine bay, we're going to push that through both sides of the JBA arms, and we'll do that now.
So you can see we went thick, thin, thin, thick.
Thick, thin, thin, thick here. So look, we're just getting the end of it. Super simple to do, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Remember, you reuse that long bolt. Make sure you follow instructions on the placement of the thick and thin washers, spacers. Yeah, and also put some lithium grease on the bushings before put it all together. Look at that.
Oh no, we should torque it first.
So a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to torque this all down. Then we need to put this bracket back on, and back there, that bracket as well. So you got to remember to put those on. But first we're going to torque the JBA upper control arm to spec, correct?
Yes.
So we're going to grease all the zerk fittings, and what we did, by the way, first is we loosened up the point to it there. That nut at the end, to make it a little bit looser so the grease has a little bit of room to expand in there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grease all three of these zerks now, like this.
Alright, so here we go. This is the new Aluma Series 2.0 ToyTec front coilovers. It's preset to 2.5 inches of a lift from the factory. So we're just going to run that first and see how that works for us. To get that in, I guess we already torqued down our JBA upper control arms. So we'll push that out of the way. Slide this in here, and hopefully it'll just go in with a little finesse. Alright, so that's most of the way in. All we gotta do is get the bolt on the bottom and 3 bolts on top, and we'll be done.
So here adds just, we've set it, and we're positioning the 3 bolts, nuts, sorry, on top of the ToyTec Aluma series coilover, and now we have to fight to get the bottom bolt in, which we'll get in a moment. So we got it in. Just you have to jiggle it around, find the sweet spot basically, and have a helper ready to push that in, and then get the washers and the nuts to get it all set, and then we're going to torque it in place.
Okay, so we just finished torquing our front coilover, and now we're putting the upper ball joint back into the steering knuckle. After we do that, we'll put back the lower ball joint. Okay, so we're pretty much finished here. We installed the ToyTec coilovers, torqued them all down, the JBA upper control arms, torqued that all down. The only thing we have left is just to put the rear sway bar back on, or the front sway bar back on, and we'll be all set. And then we'll be able to take it off-roading, so stay tuned for the next episode, and you'll see us take it out, maybe Gorman, maybe Big Bear, who knows, something in the SoCal area. All right, since these are coilovers, you can adjust them to raise or lower. And so what you would do is you take the supplied Allen wrench and you would loosen this nut or this bolt right here. And after you loosen that, you'll use this handle right here to turn it back and forth. Right now it's set to the factory 2.5, so we're not going to adjust it just yet. We'll see how that rides and how it looks, and then after, if we need to, we'll adjust it.
Perfect. All right, so that's basically the front one side of this 2008 FJ Cruiser, again using JBA heavy duty upper control arms and the ToyTec Aluma series 2.0 gorgeous coilover system from ToyTec Lifts out of Colorado. We're here with Ed Wu and working on four-wheel drive, Toyota Owner Magazine and media. Subscribe to our channel and check out all of our installs, unboxings, and trip features. Thank you very much. So here we're going to take off, we're going to do the diff drop. I'm going to take off yet another factory skid plate that covers the diff. 4 nuts and bolts will take this off, and we'll get up to the diff and we'll put in the ToyTec kit for the diff drop. Alright, so here we're removing one side of the brackets that hold on, that secure the differential to the cross member, and then in preparation for putting on the ToyTec diff drop kit, which is really just some spacer pucks that go in here. So here we go, taking these off. Now, as we're putting this, we're putting the new ToyTec diff drop spacers in place. And we're using the supplied bolts to do that, and nuts on the top. And this will be give your axle a little break by having a diff drop kit in here, like this. There's another shot. Ed's tightening down the supplied hardware for the ToyTec diff drop kit. You can see he's already done the one on the right. He's finishing off here, passenger side. So here we are doing the final aspect of the diff drop, which is put in the new spacers that will make the stock skid plate fit. And here's Ed. You can just see the spacer there. And we're going to be putting this in to get this skid plate back in place.